Well, hi everyone, Tom here. Thanks for joining me on the channel here today. You're watching Joy en Route. And as I'm standing here in front of my new home, I thought it's about time that I brought you up to speed on what all has transpired since earlier this year when things kind of went off the rails and things changed kind of dramatically for me. So let's do that. But before we go off on this walk and talk, I thought I'd flip you around and let you see what my neighbor across the street has going on for Halloween, because we're coming right up on Halloween. And they have been steadily deploying this Deadwood Country Club graveyard. Oh, this is just amazing. Oh, the Everest Cemetery, I guess it's called. Oh, I love it. This town is clearly very fascinated and really into Halloween. So there are many other properties around town that have very robust, shall we say, Halloween displays. So, yeah, that's really fun. So where am I? Again, there's the new house in the background. And we're just going to come for a walk here through the neighborhood and out to Edgewater Park, which is kind of a nice little park, right on Beaver Dam Lake. And we are in the town of Beaver Dam. I grew up here. At least I landed in Beaver Dam when my mom moved us here. When I was about, well, I want to say 13, I think. I was just starting out in middle school and when we moved. So Beaver Dam Junior High is the first public school experience that I had here in Beaver Dam. And why Beaver Dam? Well, for one thing, I can tell you that family is one of the main reasons. My mom, brought us here, but she came here to Beaver Dam because of a favorite cousin of hers, whose name is Anne, and so that was kind of one of the main drivers for coming back here to Wisconsin. We had been living in California at the time, but it was not good. It was the late 60s. Pollution in Southern California was, wow, really bad. Air pollution was just off the hook. You could literally see it rolling in the morning. Lived in a city called Riverside. Many of you have heard of Riverside, California. It's a part of the Inland Empire in the LA basin, and so that's where the smog really came from. It would just roll in from the LA area almost every morning. As kids, we'd be up on the playground and we could literally just watch it approach and then overtake us. And then I guess at night the marine winds would kind of reverse and it would get sucked back out somewhere else, maybe to sea, I don't know. and then just come right back in again. And I don't know, it was a different time back then. As kids, we would hitchhike around the city. I mean, kids, we're like grade school kids. We would like hitchhike around the city. And people would stop and pick us up and offer us cigarettes. And of course, I did start smoking back then. Not good. But anyway, I wasn't unhappy about leaving California, frankly. I know it's changed a lot since then, and I'm not even going to get into what I think about California these days. That's a whole nother story. Meanwhile, back here in Beaver Dam, my cousin Ann's family was very influential in the early development of the city. I don't know whether I want to say early development of the city, but certainly in the 20s and 30s. Ann's father, Fred Rogers, is the builder of a hotel right in downtown Beaver Dam, known as the Hotel Rogers. One of my first jobs as a teen was bussing tables in the restaurant at the Hotel Rogers. Everybody should have that experience, right? And Fred also owned a farm locally known as Springbrook. Very beautiful, beautiful farm, dairy farm. And he was also very influential in the development, the rise, of a company known as the Malleable Iron Range Company, which most people would recognize more by its subsidiary or its one of its doing business as names, and that was Monarch Range Company. So if you were old enough to have watched some of the old game shows back in the 60s and early 70s, got a truck coming here, so I hope it won't overpower me too badly. The game shows like Price is Right and all those types of shows would frequently give away a kitchen suite containing Monarch ranges, so maybe you remember that. So that's a little piece of my family. The Malleable Iron Range Company, Monarch Range, went under somewhere in the very late 70s, early 80s. And Anne passed away in 1988. And at first, my mother thought that she was number one in line. Anne, sadly, passed intestate, which of course is just the legal term for without a will. And so initially, she thought that the estate was just going to end up being passed to her. Of course, after the state and government took their cut on an intestate estate. But it turns out that there was another heir ahead of her who came in and took it all. And I think the unfortunate and sad thing for me is that Ann's beautiful house here in Beaver Dam and Springbrook Farm all just went, and a number of other properties around the city of Beaver Dam here. Somebody's getting a new roof back here. I just had that done on my house too. It really needed it. But yeah, so many of the properties in her beautiful home in Springbrook all sold at auction prices. So, and that was just awful sad to see. I can kind of understand why that went down. At least I have my theories as to why it happened. I think that the thought was that the heir didn't really have the ability to remotely manage properties or do anything about them. And so for them it made sense to sell them, even though my mother was right here and could have dealt with that. But it's also quite possible that my mother may have said, I can't deal with it, so you might as well sell it. I don't really know how that all went down. I wasn't too young to understand what was going on, but I was already living over in the Madison, Wisconsin area and was trying to build a life over there, so it seemed impractical that I could do anything about it. So I don't know, it is what it is. That said, this town has always been, to me, a place that I could call home. And I went through all of the usual and customary rites of passages that we all go through as teens and young adults right here in Beaver Dam. And as the situation unfolded earlier this year, where a tenant who was living in the other side of my duplex, right, I had purchased this duplex several decades ago and had lived in one side and rented the other for a pretty long term. Let me spin you around here. I meant to do that before we got on the boardwalk here, but I forgot. We're entering the Edgewater Park property, so we're right along the shore of Beaver Dam Lake. So we'll stop and take a look here before I continue rambling on. So Beaver Dam Lake is a very beautiful recreational and fishing lake. It is a man-made lake, and its maximum depth is somewhere in the vicinity of about 12 feet. So I think they literally have aerators running in areas of the lake, like right over across the way here. There's a big island there that I think there are aerators by, and that provides kind of a winter sanctuary for the fish. They all, I guess, have to kind of huddle up and survive the winter there, because there wouldn't be a whole lot of water if it freezes over really super hard. I don't know that the fish would be able to survive in what's left of the water in only 12 feet, and once you get several feet of ice, I don't know how that works. But anyway, so yeah, Beaver Dam Lake. And yeah, so the duplex in the Madison area. So I lived on one side, rented the other, and this January we knew something was up because a U-Haul had been spotted in the driveway while I was down in Texas, right? You might recall that I posted about the freak Gulf Coast snowstorm that I was in the middle of. And here, that was the whole idea of going out, exploring the country was, at least in part, to avoid winters, but there it was. It was so funny because everything shut down in Texas and Louisiana and everything because they were freaking out over this storm. I don't know, maximum 8 inches somewhere, but I think it was like maybe about 5 or 6 inches where I was. And after the storm had passed and I came out of the van, I looked around and I said, well, this is just any other Tuesday in Wisconsin in the winter, so I don't know what everybody's freaked out about. It melted off within the next few days anyway. But the tenant was indeed moving out. And so February 1 came and no rent arrived. And so they were served a 5-day notice. And it was at that point that they claimed that they had sent me notification of their intent to depart. They had not. And so I had to immediately drop everything and rush back to Wisconsin to deal with the situation. And as it all unfolded, first of all, there were no qualified renters coming around. Even as we got to the point in time where the abandoning tenant's lease would have normally been expiring and I would have been out looking for new tenants, there just weren't any. I got some applications, but they just were not qualified. And I got to thinking, well, can I sell this place? One of the problems that I always had with this duplex was the basements would take on water occasionally. It was on average about once every 3 years during very heavy rain that where the floor met the wall, water would begin seeping in and it would flow in little rivulets towards the floor drain and harmlessly exit the building, but really a pain in the butt. And I thought to myself, I'd been under this impression for a really long time that that would make selling the property very difficult. I don't know whether the sun's messing with you or not. I've got this tiny little screen that I'm looking at, and I don't know whether it's messing with you or not, but I decided to go ahead and contact a realtor just to see if there would be a possibility of selling the property. Much to my surprise, the answer I got from that realtor was, water in the basement's really not a factor, so don't worry about that. And here's the bottom line number that we would anticipate we could sell for. And I kind of stepped back and said, wait, what? And so we went ahead and kind of moved towards a sale of the property. And as it turned out, there was someone that they were already talking with, a family that they were already talking with that was looking for exactly this kind of property. And so, as luck would have it, the property sold, without ever hitting the MLS. So that was interesting, and I got the highest number that was in the range. So yeah, that worked. But then of course the problem was, if I'm going to sell, obviously I'm going to have to go somewhere, right? And I know that some of you may be out there thinking, well, sure, but you were running around nomadically in joy. Why wouldn't you just sell all and just go back out on the road again? Look, to be quite honest with you, I don't think that's as practical as a lot of people make it out to be. Some people will do that, and I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I think the issue is that this world isn't really aligned with that kind of a lifestyle, right? So banks and, financial institutions and departments of transportation where you register your vehicles and whatnot, they're all expecting a street address. And the mail services that you can utilize as a nomad are actually fairly well known by these financial institutions and the DOTs around the country, etc., etc. And so they know if you're giving them a mail forwarding address, and they don't really care for that. And plus I kind of felt like once I did come off of the road, eventually it's going to happen, right? What was I going to do then? And so I did some pretty heavy duty praying on the whole situation. And I just remember waking up the morning after a particularly intense little bout of praying, wondering what could I possibly do? What would be my next move? Help me understand what should be my next move. And I just remember waking up thinking so strongly and just feeling very excited about possibly moving back to Beaver Dam. Beaver Dam's only about an hour away from where my duplex was. And so I started scanning Zillow and those kinds of websites to see what I could get in Beaver Dam. What was available over here. And working with the same realtors that I sold my duplex with, but a different agent, we started looking at properties over here in Beaver Dam, because it turns out that the property prices over here were significantly less than over in the Madison area. That really wasn't much of a surprise. Everything in Dane County, where Madison is overinflated, and it's just a mess over there. Whatever. But so we found a property. I bought it and closed on it and moved into it. So Joy became kind of a cargo hauler all summer, because just as soon as I had keys in my hands, I had to get out of that duplex. which had closed the week before I closed on the property over here. But we had an occupancy agreement that allowed me to continue in the duplex until the end of September, if it came to that, but it didn't. I was able to get out about a month earlier than that. But it was nothing but lifting and hauling and moving and taking a lot of ibuprofen. Boy, I'll tell you, even to this day, some of my arm muscles are just feeling the stress of that move. And so I'm here, and just to, I don't know, put everybody's mind to rest, if you're worried about it, I am deliriously happy to be here. It does represent a change of focus for Joy en Route, the channel, and I hope to be able to continue to post videos that are interesting for you. Some will likely be travel videos, maybe a little bit more locally around Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a very beautiful state, and one thing that I can say about Wisconsin is that, in relation to my nomadic life, that is that whenever I returned to Wisconsin, I always thought to myself, gosh, it's beautiful here. There really is something about Wisconsin. I don't know what to tell you, but I just love it here. So I enjoyed getting all out around the United States as much as I could. I only got as far west as New Mexico and Montana, and really would have wanted to see Wyoming and Utah and Arizona, Colorado. There was still a lot more to see and that I wanted to see and continue the travels. So, I don't know how I can do that. Maybe at some point we'll be able to do that, but I don't know how that's going to happen. I think that Joy will be up for sale, and we'll try to find a new owner for her so that she can get back out on the road and and bring a lot of joy to new nomadic travelers. And so we'll be working towards that. I will be taking a trip down to Elkhart for some final maintenance items on the interior build. I think Ford has almost had its way with Joy in terms of warranty-related services. Joy's 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty, bumper-to-bumper warranty, has expired at this point, just barely, because I took possession of Joy in October, and it's October now, 3 years later. So, and yeah, so I mean, I'd love your thoughts on what you might hope to see from Joy en Route in the future. One thing that I can say is that life is a journey, it's not a destination, and we've all heard stuff like that, right? That's a simple truism that we all kind of pretty much take for granted. But, and so, I don't feel like the notion of being en route is over, right? We're still making our way through life, and so we're still en route. So I see no need to change the name of the channel or whatever. Joy the Van may not continue to be featured on the channel, but if you remember way back to the very beginning, when I first introduced the channel to Joy, I kind of related the story of how Joy got her name. And I think that that's a story that reflects an attitude more than a thing. So if you remember back to that video, there was a quote, a senior quote for my high school yearbook, where we were asked to come up with a quote. And my quote was, and this was truly just from me, I didn't take it from someone else, was, "Let the joy outweigh the pain." And so again, that's more of an attitude than it is a physical thing. So joy en route can continue. And I'm hoping that we'll have fun along the way. The last video might be kind of the way things go, right? Just spur of the moment, spontaneous events that just happen. I would like to get the posting frequency back up again, because, you know, this whole summer, you guys, was just, I was beat. I'm still beat. I'm still trying to recover from the move. It was not an easy thing to have to endure. A move never is. Nobody likes to move. And unfortunately, I just drug forward a whole bunch of stuff that I really would rather have just thrown in the trash. But the funny thing is that between the sale of the duplex and when I turned it over ultimately to the new buyers, the new owners, there were only so many trash days that were available for me to discard stuff. So a lot of stuff just ended up coming over here to Beaver Dam because I didn't have anything else to do with it. I guess I could have rented a dumpster and stuck it in the driveway and just chucked a bunch of stuff, but I think it's better I did it the way I did it, and then I can take a more leisurely approach to divesting myself of a bunch of junk that I don't really need. So there's that. But look at this beautiful lake, you guys. And this is where I grew up. Kinda. I mean, junior high, senior high, and all of those fun things that you did as kids. We had not far from here, there's some railroad tracks that you may have noticed as I was walking around back there. There are mini bike trails, and when I was a kid, we had, I was actually very lucky and very blessed to have a mini bike, and so I was part of the mini bike crowd. And we had a network of trails around Beaver Dam that would let us to get to just about anywhere. And when there wasn't a trail for us to get somewhere, one of the things that we would do is when this lake would freeze, we would just take our mini bikes out onto the lake and cruise along the shore to get to our friends that maybe lived somewhere further, around the lake. And sometimes, we'd get onto the city streets, maybe kind of late at night, and then as luck would have it, a cop would spot us and try to light us up, and we'd run. Not wise. Don't do that. Please don't do that. As a matter of fact, please operate all motor vehicles responsibly and with appropriate license. I think the cops here were just kind of like, okay, we're just gonna, put the fear of God into them, or put the fear of the law into them, and then let them go, because they'd always break off pursuit. It's more dangerous, of course, trying to chase down a bunch of kids on mini bikes than it is to just let them go. They're not really hurting anything. They just want to get from A to B, and that's that's how we were doing it back then. But yeah, I mean, the memories here are just crazy good, and so to move back here was just one of the highlights of an otherwise really kind of messed up beginning to the year. So it's ending on a very positive note, and so I'm very happy about that. Okay, I think I'll just flip the camera around here and just kind of let you enjoy the walk back to the house, maybe with a little music and increased speed as we go along. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I dropped out of monetization, so give a like and maybe post this video to your social media so that we can maybe get back. Did I ever get much in the way? Hi. Did we ever get much in the way of money out of YouTube for this? I got a couple of $100 paid out, so it's not anything that's gonna carry me in retirement or something like that, but it's more just that I want to do this, because it's fun, and if you enjoy it, then I'll keep doing it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.